Welcome back to the 2020 Region Rundown here on AccessWDUN.com as we continue our downward spiral into the regions throughout the state of Georgia and our area as we hit Region 7-3A today.
Are you saying me and you are hitting our downward spiral, or are we talking about the regions
Yeah, we're
themselves?
both of us are
'Cause
definitely on
we
a
got
downward
voltage
spiral.
could come after us after this one if we're
There's no doubt about that. But Region 7-3A, probably our most interesting region in the area, Jeff, just because it houses so many area teams, our local teams, and probably will produce maybe the best competition.
It may. I tell you, I think this is a wide open region. You've got for GAC has moved out. East Hall has moved out. Now East Hall finished near the bottom of the standings, but I think that was a team that was considered to maybe be on the rise this year. Of course, GAC has won the region every time they've been in it. No one's been able to beat them. So the rest of the region is probably glad to say adios muchacho to GAC. But on the flip side of that, when you have a program like that is that high caliber, the rest of the teams have to step up their game if they're going to compete. And I actually think that that's what happened for most of the Region 7 AAA teams with GAC in it, is the team started to rise to the top, like North Hall, kind of a resurgence. Dawson County has shown the last 3 or 4 years they're a team that's always going to be there. With this year, you got White County coming in. That might have been the best 5-5 team in Class 4A last year, and they were, basically one play from making the playoffs in arguably the toughest region in the state in any classification. When you look at Blessed Trinity and Denmark and Marist and Flowery Branch, I mean, good grief,
No doubt.
that was really, really tough region. And they've got a lot of people back, so you got to like White County. Dawson County looks good. Not saying the rest of the teams don't. I think those two might be a pinch above the rest of the group, but the other 5 or 6 teams, I mean, I think it's wide open. I don't think that you can go, that team is definitely going to make it, or that team's definitely not going to make it.
Well, we have talked to all 6 local coaches, and the thing that pops in my head is that everybody talks about Cherokee Bluff, including Coach Jones. But, talking about maybe they're the team that might be the sleeper in Region 7-3A this year, entering year number 3. They won 3 games last year. They were in a few more of those games, and now, their first full junior class coming up, some more seniors also coming up. So Cherokee Bluff could be that team that says, hey, we want to get in there in the top 4.
Well, they could. They've got arguably the best running back in the region in Jaquan Smith. He had about 900 yards last year, and was really just learning the position. The offensive line was just getting going. I think that is definitely, they like to run the ball. I see them running the ball. Now, they are going to be breaking in a new quarterback. We have no idea who that's going to be. That could, I don't know if that's going to be an issue, but, again, if they get a little more out of the passing game this year, that could open up Jaquan a little more. So I think they're definitely a team to be on the lookout for. And then you look at some of the other teams. North Hall lost a lot, but then again, they've lost a lot before, and it's those years when you don't expect much from North Hall that they pop a really good season. So I think there's a lot here in this region. That there's just, I don't know that you can pick any one particular scenario that's going to happen. Gilmer County, brand new, are in this region. They snapped like a 30-something game losing streak to win 4 games last year and missed out on the playoffs in a 6-0 loss. I think.
All right, Jeff. So we've decided that we're going to open our Region 7-3A rundown with White County and West Hall. West Hall, the newcomer, coming back into Region 7-3A. So is White County. White County was once in this region as well. So they're coming. White and West Hall moving from 4A, 7-4A into 7-3A. Talked to both Coach Coakley and Coach Montgomery, and those two seem kind of excited.
They did, and of course, that we started with these two after extensive polling around the area, which involved me and you and perhaps
and a couple
wife.
straws. Yeah, extensive.
It was extensive though. took all of it. We spent at least a good 30 seconds and
And
25
a
cents
couple
working
text
on that.
messages
So,
too. So
um,
yeah.
well, there you go. Yeah, we don't want to leave those out. Yeah, I will tell you though, I don't know if it matters who we start with because I think all of them they're all compelling in kind of where they're at. We'll listen when we talk to Coakley. I think he's really excited. We asked him about the defense, because they gave up a lot of points. He goes, yeah, well, when you're in a region like you're in, and defense was at a premium, but when other teams are able to move and you got to score, so he felt like the defense was really an area where they could really make a jump. And of course,
Right.
they got Jabin Haynes, which is probably the most experienced quarterback in the region. And that I really think that is going to play for the Warriors. I think that's going to make them a contender right out of the
No
gate,
doubt.
as long as he's
Yeah,
healthy and
most
everybody stays
experienced
healthy.
quarterback coming in, a great offense from last year. So when you have that combination,
And a big receiver he mentioned that didn't play last year, I
yes,
believe
no,
his name
he
was
was
Jimmy
hurt.
King. That
Oh yeah,
big target
he's
he
got
didn't
Cooper
have
Turner
last
on the
year.
other
So
side too. So
I think
uh,
right, and so I think the Warriors looking pretty good.
yeah.
Coming back into Region 7 AAA, and of course West Hall. Now West Hall suffered through only their second
Hmm.
winless season ever. In 30 plus years, it was a tough year, but they had a lot of injuries.
A lot of
We talked
youth.
about that with Coach Krofton Montgomery. A lot of youth, but on the flip side, when you have injuries and you play youth, that youth can get some game experience, and that's what happened. West Hall has shown over the years they play Dawson County every year. They play a lot of the other teams at 7 AAA. They're going to be
Hmm.
competitive. I really feel that. So it's just going to be interesting to see how they put all those pieces kind of back
Yeah, no
together
doubt.
a
Well,
little bit.
we had an opportunity, and let's get to them. Coach Coakley and Coach Montgomery from White and West Hall.
Talking with West Hall coach Krofton Montgomery. Coach, last year just did not go, I think, the way anybody anticipated. If I recall, a lot of injuries. How is this? How have you gone into this season? I know nothing's normal, but if this had been a normal season, what would have been the priorities this year?
Well, I mean, last year obviously didn't go as planned. You're talking about injuries, youth, schedule, just not, recipe for disaster, starting some freshmen, having some issues with some upperclassmen. But as soon as the season was over, all the way up until when we went home, we've had a really good little off season. Been coming in the mornings, doing our install. I was able to add Bruce Miller as my pass game coordinator, quarterbacks coach, allowing my offense coordinator, Coach Gross, to really open up. So bring some of that experience, some of the things we wanted to do. And we got a lot of returning starters. I mean, we played a lot of freshmen. I mean, you play freshmen and sophomores on Friday nights, especially some of the teams we're playing. I mean, some things are going to happen, but I think that they've grown actually tighter. And, we're having great weight room sessions. I think speed-wise, we doubled the amount of people running sub 540s just in the last 4 months. So I hated to have this thing happen. I mean, it couldn't come at a worse time, but I always preach control the controllable. That's kind of our motto. And right now it's, our kids going to have to do what they got to do at home. And, we're just praying for a season, getting back and getting together, kind of miss the camaraderie of coaches and players and just being all together.
Well,
So
Coach,
that's kind of where we're at.
Coach, you're one of two teams moving in. Well, Gilmer County's moving in as well, but as we say, our local area teams, you and White County moving down to 7-3A. That's one of the main reasons we're here today to discuss, some of the newness. You guys are actually moving back into a region much like White County that you were in a few years ago, back into 7-3A against, North Hall, Dawson, and those teams. What is your overall thought, feeling of getting out of Region 7-4A, getting away from Blessed Trinity, Maris, Flowery Branch, and those teams, and coming into 7-3A? Now, thoughts there?
That's
Big smile on your face.
well, that's it's something that the coaches, players, they like playing local teams. I mean, you add North Hall back in, Cherokee Bluff. These are kids they grew up with. They're around. They played rec ball with them. They know each other. There's just more familiarity, more little of a natural rivalry. schools closer to the same size, same geographic area, a little more familiarity with just like, the coaches in general. We do different things from all-star games to meetings and FCA and everything together. So it's just exciting from that standpoint, exciting for gate standpoint, if fans are allowed to come to games. Now that being said, it's still really good teams. I mean, it's, but when you take a Marist, a Denmark, Blessed Trinity, 3 times, state champion, Flowery Branch, last year played Jefferson Commerce, not region. It's a totally different schedule from the year before. But we bring in Dawson's going to be really good next year. They've been on a roll. White County's got the quarterback coming back. They're very well coached, great team. North Hall's been traditionally good. Coach Bishop does a great job there. So Cherokee Bluff's on the rise. So it's still going to be a very tough region. But at the same time, it's just a little bit different when you're talking about these teams don't have a second string that looks like Marist' second string or Blessed Trinity's second string. So, there's a little bit more that you can control in terms of a coach and a program. It just excites you to have that chance to be able to compete week in, week out, because it's a tough deal when you're going against some of those teams we were.
Well, you mentioned this region kind of looks wide open. I think most people would think probably Dawson, North Hall, White County, but North Hall lost a lot. Only two teams of this new region made the playoffs. So it looks wide open on paper. You mentioned some of the teams like White County with their quarterback. You guys you struggled offensively and gave up a lot of points defensively, but you mentioned all the youth. Who are some guys that we're going to look to that we can look at that fans can look and say, okay, these guys from West Hall are going to be on the rise?
Well, defensively, I feel really strong about some young guys. They got, they got bathed by fire out there last year. I mean, they were in the middle of covering guys going to Auburn and doing some things. And one of them is Noah Legault. He was a freshman that started every game for us at safety. Number 11, he's going to be a really good player. He's only going to be a rising sophomore, really good athlete, multi-sport athlete. Andrew Malin, he was a defensive end. He started all 10 games for us as a freshman. A 6'3", 220-pound kid, really good hands, going to play some tight end for us. Those two guys as freshmen started, 10 games in that region, and I'm just really looking forward to them two coming back. And then we had some of the guys that had played the year before, Talil Blackwell, inside linebacker, really big kid, maybe moving him down to some defensive end, inside linebacker, playing him in a couple different spots. We got Ben Hong coming back on the defensive line. He's actually got 20 starts under his belt. Got Caleb Baker at outside linebacker. He's coming back. He's going to be a junior. Sam Holcomb at safety. He was a first-team all-region performer last year, had over 60 tackles. He'll be a senior, kind of a leader back there, one of our big hitters. When it comes to the defensive side of the ball, give up a lot of points. You can give up a lot of points when you're on the field, as much as we were. I'm being honest with you. I mean, we probably had more snaps. It did seem like
it was, I mean, if your offense is not able to move, you're putting a lot of pressure on your defense. But, one thing you mentioned earlier is you brought in Bruce Miller, the former Gainesville coach. He was at Flowery Branch last year. How is that going to help the offense?
Well, Coach Gross has been offense coordinator here the last 2 years, and he's done a great job. Last year, I feel like just we had some injuries in some key spots. We're talking about number 1 and 2 receiver, top running back, some issues, injuries there, some different things with discipline on the team. I mean, we ended up playing a lot of young people. Just an astronomical amount. But so coming back, we got 2 running backs that have varsity carries. Elijah Portia and Josiah Henriquez at running back. Clayton Jenkins, this will be his 3rd year starting. I think Clayton Jenkins, Coach Bruce Miller is going to coach the quarterbacks. And I think Clayton's got a chance to have a really, really good year. I mean, I felt like he had a chance last year, and there were some injuries, some things happened, lots of things. And I think he has a chance to have a really, really special year as a senior. He's a good athlete. He's tall. He's accurate. Last year I think we averaged about 8 to 9 drops a game in the passing game. I mean, we just had some things that
seemed to bite Georgia too.
Yeah, it was not a good recipe for what we wanted to do. So I think that, Coach Miller coming in, bringing a lot of that experience and some of the things we want to do, and giving Coach Gross someone with a lot of experience in that room, as well as my other offensive coaches. Coach Ryden does a good job with the O-line. I feel good about my coaching staff. We're coaching them up. We're doing everything we can. And I feel like, these kids are hungry to kind of get on the field on a Friday and kind of show people, hey, we're able to play some ball. Some of these kids were 14, 15 years old starting last year. And we're excited to get back, man. I just keep hoping we get back, man. Every day something new comes, but just looking forward to that. Being able to get back out there on the field and just being able to play
Coach,
ball.
You seem really excited about your team coming up this year, and I know probably this COVID gives a little more excitement into it because you just want to get back out there. Any other than some coaching changes as far as bringing Coach Miller in, are you guys going to change any of your offense, any of your defensive scheme? Are you, you talked about Clayton Jenkins a while ago, and I'm like, he's one of those players that seems like he's been there 10 years.
Yeah.
So, you got a ton of experience with him, but are you guys thinking about changing anything up, or are you just going to kind of stick with the same base?
There's definitely been some changes. Offensively, we've done some things to allow us to maybe have a little bit more time of possession, and not just based out of some things. I don't want to get talking too much. We didn't have spring ball, so those things are all predicated on the athletes you got. You got to have your personnel fit your thing. Defensively, we're doing some things that I feel really, really strongly that's going to be very, very beneficial for us, for our personnel. I feel really strong that defensively we can have a really big time breakout year, and really, really rise up. There's nowhere to go but up for us.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about the points per game given up and the points per game that we average, our kids have been working. It's more of the chemistry too. That's the thing that doesn't go. The chemistry of the group we got coming back. These kids are tight. These kids work together. They all like each other. There's not someone that has the little click here and there. These guys all are in the same boat. They're all rowing the same way, as PJ Fleck would say. And they're a lot of fun to be around. They want to practice. They want to lift. They want to run. We don't have people just saying, that's not this group. This is a hard-nosed group of kids that really like to work. And I feel like we got it turned the right way. And then, this COVID thing, man, like I said, it just – man, we happened at a really bad time because we were all excited about spring and just putting in all the time we were in the mornings in the weight room and running and our track program. We had all of our kids out running track. Coach Jones, my secondary coach, came from Gainesville, was doing a great job with our track program. We have our whole secondary out there running every single day. Just a difference in West Hall. We haven't had that. I've been here 7 years. We haven't had 30 football players in the track team. All doing the same thing, which is something we've always wanted to do. Now we kind of had the pieces in place, moving in that direction, and now we're in the freeze right now. But man, I just want GHSA to come out with a date and allow us to get back to work. And that doesn't guarantee us anything, but you know what? We just want to chip, seat at the table, work as hard as we can, and get out there and be able to play some ball.
Well, Coach, we were talking about the region. You're talking about all the local rivalries. I think I mentioned, I feel like this could be a wide open race. Do you see that, everything being equal, all the other teams are in the same boat, but if everybody's able to get back as close to the normal start date as was projected and start working, do you see this region as a toss-up?
Yeah, I think on paper, you're probably looking at Dawson and White County probably being the top of the region. I would think if you were looking on paper. Dawson County's had a sophomore quarterback last year, and they've done really good things in their weight room in terms of strength, and they're very well coached by Coach Maxwell, and he's done a great job there. And then you're looking at White County, very well coached as well, and just having played them last year with the quarterback's a special player. And then North Hall, I'm not going to count them out either. Coach Bishop does good things offensively there. And, I know they lost a lot. But they also had a pretty good JV team. They had a good middle school team coming up. They got some good players too. They got the running back and a quarterback. I heard that they got a quarterback that's old SEC player, brought his son there to play quarterback. I was told that. I don't know if that's true or whatever, but I know Coach Jones does a great job there. He put a great staff together. And I don't know as much about Gilmer. I mean, that's a team that I haven't played. I know that coach has had success everywhere he's been. Then you're looking at Lumpkin County, kind of a newer coach there, kind of in a rebuild. But yeah, definitely just a different region, week in, week out, in terms of just a little bit more
feel
local.
like you guys can be right in the mix.
That's our plan. Yeah, I mean, that we're always shooting for a region title. I mean, do I feel like we're going to be in the mix? I mean, we got to get back together and get working and see how we can progress. But I feel like we can compete week in, week out, and I feel like we have a chance to surprise some folks. I really do.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck this season. We hope you guys get back started ASAP. That'd be nice for you guys and for us.
Well, Coach Tim Coakley of White County, thanks for joining us today. Talking Region 7 AAA, which has just a ton of local teams, and it's kind of a hodgepodge. We had 2 or 3 regions that were put together. GAC's gone, Fannon's gone, East Hall's gone. Gilmer, West Hall, and yourselves have been added to this region. Interesting, only 2 teams that are left in the current configuration made the playoffs last year. How do you see this region?
I think it's what's going to be fantastic is, our fans every game. We played games in Atlanta. It was a difficult thing on Friday for our fans to leave work and get to the game. So to start with, we're going to have really good crowds. You've been to White County. We just have such a loyal following. I think that is what makes us different, and that's what makes our football team different, is that, our town needs us. They need us to rally them, and it's easier playing this group of teams than the group we've played the last 3 years.
Well, Coach, you probably have got the region's most experienced quarterback. When you look at Ben Haynes, he was responsible for 3,100 yards last year. And again, like I said, you got Dawson's in there, North Hall's in there. Those are the only 2 teams that made the playoffs. Y'all were 5-5, probably the best 5-5 team in Class 4A last year. Didn't make the playoffs. Do you experience or might play for y'all?
Well, with the shutdown and with everything that's going on, I've answered this question several times. And on an experienced team when you go through this, but Ben already has every school record. I mean, he's been playing since he was a freshman, but he also has a really good supporting cast, and we have 22 seniors. He's been throwing balls to Cooper Turner since they were 5 years old, and so all these guys have grown up together. We knew coming this would be a good class, and I think Ben's best character trait is he's tough, mentally and physically. And if your quarterback's tough, your team's tough. So yeah, we like who we have, and we like the league we're in. Really, really excited to get back to playing.
Well, Coach, when you talk about the league, and I know it's a brand new league for you guys, the first thing that comes to my mind is that you're an instant contender in Region 7-3A with the amount of players that you have coming back. But you look at the other couple of teams that you guys have played North Hall on a regular basis. You've even played Dawson County back when on a regular basis. So it's nothing new for you guys, but I feel like you guys come into this region as an instant contender for the region championship. I know you don't like making predictions or anything, but your feelings on that, because you guys have a lot of pieces coming back.
But but it really goes back to philosophy, and this is my 31st year, and I've always challenged my teams into playing for the championship. So whether we had a great group of returners or not, we're going to compete for the championship, and have tried to instill that in our guys the last 3 years. So me saying, look, our goal is to win this region championship, which would be the first in our school's history, is not because of this class. It's because of the way we do things, and it's the standard. The standard doesn't change here. We aren't going to take solace in close losses. We want to be happy about big wins, and so we like our chances, but we always play for the championship here. And I think now it's just a little more level on the playing field. I think that, with the travel schedule we have, with these natural rivals that we've always played in our region, I think not just that we have a shot, I think we have an exciting year in front of us.
Well, offensively, I don't see you guys having much of a drop-off. Again, you've got Ben returning. You've got Turner returns, or did he graduate?
He's returning. Cooper Turner. He's leading receiver.
right? And you've got offensive line guys. Defensively, and I know you were in an insanely tough region in 7-4A. How do you feel about the defense? Is that an area where you feel like maybe the most progress needs to be made if you want to make a serious run?
Well, you guys cover this every week and do a great job, by the way, and the coaches really appreciate that. So you understand how ball's changed. Since I started, which was '89. I mean, we lost the state championship game when I was an assistant coach in 1990. I challenge you to find another 6-3 game. Okay, so it's what you expect from your defense, and it's kind of the parameters that we use now because they don't let us hit anymore. It's basically touch on grass. You got to be real careful on what you do, which means the offense is going to score a lot of points. And now you get a running quarterback. So we played really well at times last year defensively. It's better. When things are going to be up and down the field, more than were ran in the White County North Hall game 20 years ago. So when it's like that, I think as coaches, it behooves of us to teach our guys what the situation is, and so that's how you improve on defense, is understanding, what that does and what the momentum and the game-changing plays do during a game. It's not shut somebody out. I don't think anybody on any level is going to do that anymore.
Okay, well, Coach, y'all just missed out on the playoffs last year, 28-21, I believe, turned out to be the deciding game. So you were right there for the playoffs. Me and Bo were talking about who we think. I think we feel like you guys are right there. Probably Dawson is right there. Who do you see in this region as being the serious contenders for playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, Cherokee Bluff has a really nice running back, and those guys are coming on. So we respect all of our opponents, but I don't think anybody's going to go undefeated in region play in our region, just because if each week you're having to either travel, get ready, and play teams that are competitive and that are all playing up here in this geographic location. I think that there's going to be a lot of momentum changes. But not just that. I mean, Gilmer's got a new coach, and I've talked to him, Coach Saunders. I know all these guys, and I know what they're doing. So there just aren't going to be easy games, and we used to be the easy game. we know we've lived it, but no. What's great about here is not just that region, is with you guys at WDUN and the way y'all kind of bring it all together. I think that adds to the pressure, and some teams are going to be able to handle that, and some teams aren't. But you can't hide up here, and I think that's a really good thing. And I think don't think you're going to be able to hide in our new region. I think you're going to have to play your way to the playoffs.
The way I see this new region, Coach, is from top to bottom. We were trying to decide, okay, who are we going to have on our webcast? I'm like, how can we leave anybody out here? Because I think Region 7-3A is going to be, for us, one of the most fun regions to cover, because week in and week out, not only do we have a bunch of local teams in it, but we also have – you guys back? I think I lost you for a minute. There's Coach. Okay.
We're here.
But not only a lot of local teams are in this region, but it's going to be a very competitive region. But it also brings into the fact that some of the rival games for you guys like Lumpkin and North Hall now truly mean something. To you as a head coach, how much better does that make your season go when you actually have rivals on the schedule that truly mean something to your players?
We say that we have 5 games that are rivalry. I never knew that White County had 5 rivalries. My first year, everybody said, man, Lumpkin's our rival. We beat Lumpkin. They said, oh, but that was a big one. But wait till next week. It's Habersham. we beat Habersham. And they said, but that's really not the big one. Wait till we play North Hall. Then we beat North Hall. You know what I mean? And so we can see in North Hall and Habersham and Lumpkin, these adjoining counties that we have played, as our rivalry games. And over through the past 3 years, that's 15 games. We're 12-3, and so that's really the route we want to go. Obviously whoever's up next is the opponent we talk about, but because our kids have to live in this environment, man, we really get excited about these games with the adjoining counties.
Well, Coach, we've talked J. Ben Haynes. Who on your team do you feel is ready for a big breakout season?
Well, you know, we got a 6'5" receiver, Jimmy King, and he didn't play all last year because he got hurt on the first drive of the first game. You know, and whether a 6'5" receiver is great or just average, he's a really tough matchup. That's one. Then Reese Dockery, who's a three-sport athlete at a school, fast offensively. You know, he plays on the perimeter. Of course, you have Cooper, you know, who's our starting tailback. My starting Mike linebacker, Zion McMillan. There's just a lot of guys that have now been with us for 3 years. And hopefully they've been lifting weights the last couple of months because I haven't been able to talk to them. But no, all those guys have, you know, when you get the scheme down, now you can relax and play with confidence. And I think those guys understand the standard, and they're really going to have a great year.
Well, Coach, we look forward to it. We're excited about getting things going. Hopefully, we will get it going with COVID-19. Hopefully, we'll be gone. But we appreciate you dropping in today, taking a sliver of your time out, and joining us here on the show.
All right. Thank you for your time, guys.
All right. Thank you, Coach.